Hey, what's going on, guys? So I wanted to cover this real quick with Redcat's updates on the Machete, just so everybody was kind of on the same page. And in case you haven't seen this, Redcat did put it on their Facebook page, and the link to it. But not everybody's on Facebook, not everybody's following Redcat. But maybe you might be interested in the Machete and just hearing second, third hand stuff. So let me just cover a couple things. First of all, I'm shocked that they're even addressing that the Do RC and Matt's Motorworks are basically the main people that kind of brought this up to them, because usually it takes way more than that. I mean, trust me, I've been that guy calling out things and seen them not react and take steps the way they should have. So this is definitely a good sign that the new Redcat is definitely listening to people and trying to catch these things before they happen. So again, the issues were very close to what I was talking about in that video after the update. But if we look, this is just basically them talking about how they go through their process and how they go through their testing and try this stuff out. And of course, how sometimes things come in and they're not always exactly what they should have been. But starting first, they mentioned the upper arms potential problem. They say potential because obviously, I think like DRC even pointed out after his original video, that if you look how long that link is, and I pointed out in my initial video, it did not look like it was sitting in there very long. And according to this picture, it was not. So one of my customers that bought the Machete, I had him come in and we checked his arms, and 3 of his arms were, I would say, evenly enough threaded. One of them was horrible. We literally had to rethread it and kind of even it out a little bit for now. So if he would have jumped that thing in the air, definitely that one arm probably would have gave first, because it probably had maybe 3 or 4 threads through the one side of the arm. But again, that's something you can check real simple, guys, while you're waiting for your replacement parts, which this is one of the parts Redcat's going to give you. And as you can see, the new arms that they're going to include are, definitely a lot thicker through there. That will be impressive to see. And if that had that bulge there, I probably would have never even made the comment. I probably actually would have made the comment about how deep that looked, and maybe made that whole reference a little bit different. So let's see here, the shock bottoms. Now we haven't really seen any issues with these from the guys that I've sold them to so far, which is only 2 of them. But again, that is something that I sent to him afterwards if he wanted to check. But just making sure that they tightened and go, not actually, should say not over tightened, because apparently they were down there so tight that it was could cause issues there where the threading pulled out, like somebody stripped them putting them in. So keep an eye on that. If you notice your shock shaft bottoms off, that's what that is. I wouldn't mess with it. If there's something like this happens, you can always use JB Weld in the meantime until you get your replacement parts. But this is another part that's going to be replaced. I would just put some JB Weld in there, let it start to sit for about 5 minutes, maybe 3 minutes or so, and then start threading your rod in there and just leave it sit. So the center drive shaft issue. Now this one's not as prominent as what the other one is. Obviously the upper arms doesn't seem to be an issue. This one seems to be more of a situational thing. So anybody that's going to go through and change out their diff oils and upgrade their things probably will notice this sooner, especially if they're laying on it and jumping and on the throttle at all after you lock up, potentially lock up that center diff. Apparently somebody had twizzled it, as the term's been going, where they twisted a little bit. But as you can see, the new ones are going to come with a much thicker core, where the core, actually I should say a thinner hollow core, thicker inner material. So it definitely should change that, fix that. Everybody will get those as well. And then, which I brought up because I didn't bring in the 4S, but I did bring up the fact that I'm like, yeah, I don't know why they made this a dual battery truck and they've only got one XT90 connector on there. So, I assumed I made the thing, maybe they have the adapter in there. Well, apparently they forgot it. So the adapter was not with the 4S people, so I'm sure that's something Redcat was able to take care of pretty quickly for people. But again, guys, this is awesome. Redcat, to do this and stay so upfront with this with people, man, it brings me back to the Arma times. Like I said, I've brought this up in a couple of the comments to people. Is I remember Arma selling through all of their 3S and 4S trucks. I don't ever remember hearing Arma acknowledge that there was ever a problem with their 3S 4S lineup, because I was one of the people trying to buy some more big rocks when they were out of stock. So You know, there was no widespread knowledge of what was going on with that. They just all of a sudden came back out months later with, you know, V2s and stuff. So again, we knew there was issues. People were responding with issues, but I don't ever recall Arma pulling it, Arma telling people, hey, we're going to replace your parts. Anybody that gets them, hey, we're going to give you a gift card. You know, Traxxas is notorious, and they're constantly selling shitty electronics. Do you think they're warranting you and replacing that or shutting down them? They are warranting you. Forgive me on that, but they are not replacing it easily. Like half the time, they want you to send in, you know, basically 4 forms of ID or whatever. That's exaggerative, but sometimes they want you to send the vehicle in. And they'll determine what's wrong with it when it comes to like an ESC and stuff. But they're notorious for having these ESC issues, especially with like the X-Max. And I think even now the Sledge was having issues from a couple of the people, especially 2 of the ones I sold. Those guys had issues with their ESCs. So again, nobody's perfect in this world. It's all about how you handle it. So I think Redcat is doing a stand-up job of handling this. I've never seen so much informative information from a company that had an issue like this. And if they're out there, guys, I'm not saying that it never happened. I just said I have not seen it. So it's a true statement. No matter what, you know, if it disagrees with something, oh, well, Arma did put out their bulletin and say something, but I missed it if it did. So that's all I'm saying. But I definitely don't think it happened because I'm in a lot of Arma groups. But regardless, I'm not here to bash Arma. I love Arma. I love, you know, what Traxxas does to a degree if they lowered their prices. So I'm not an RC basher. I'm just making a point with all these people that are constantly in the group. In the feeds talking about just buy an Arma. You know, you could solve your problem if you just bought an Arma. It's like, yeah, I just chuckle at those people, man. Again, guys, nobody's perfect. It's all how you handle it. So I appreciate you guys. I wanted to just cover those things. So stay tuned. I'm still doing my shredder video. I actually partially filmed it. I'm just kind of waiting to finish it, and then I got to edit it all up, and I'll get time to do that. So I'm in the middle of a move locally. As soon as I get that done, get caught up to where I can get going again, I will get that finished up, and we'll do some comparisons for it. All right, guys, I appreciate you.